When you think of Michael Jackson, which album comes to mind? For most of the world, it's this one, and for good reason. Each song was designed to be single-worthy, and most of them were. It was MJ and Quincy, fresh off the success of Off the Wall, and hungry for more. Most artists would get more experimental in their sophomore project, but Thriller was pure pop perfection. Bad would aim even higher, but lean more into a signature sound for MJ, something that Dangerous took as far as it would go. Simplistic, drum and sample-heavy beats that hit you right in the chest, as MJ added oomph to each beat. Fast forward to 2001. His last record is drastically different, boasting some of the strongest late 90s producers and oozing Y2K R&B. Still fantastic, still undeniably MJ, but veered in a completely different direction than Dangerous. So, what could have happened in the meantime? Let me start by saying that History is not my favorite MJ album. I gauge my enjoyment of albums by the proportion of songs I like to the ones I did not. Nor is it my second. Gold and Silver do unfortunately go to Bad and Thriller respectively. I mean, I'm not deaf. But my God, is it a strong bronze. The most stressful time in MJ's life produced an album that's bursting at the seams with indignant rage, barely holding itself back from screaming, "Did you forget who I am?" First, a little context. MJ and the media had had bad blood since the 80s. He was a source of endless tabloid gold, and they'd milk him for all he was worth. Then, Evan Chandler came forward in 1993 and accused the pop star of molesting his son, Jordan. The resulting chaos never truly died, and is still hotly debated today. I'm not weighing in on this with my thoughts. I'm just here for the music. The stress of these allegations, and the resulting legal battle, caused Jackson to relapse into painkillers. After a while, he stopped eating as well, to the point that he had to cancel the rest of the Dangerous tour and go into rehab to recover. All of this was the backdrop of History. Michael returned to the studio, specifically Manhattan's Hit Factory, in early 1994, and put together an all-star lineup for his next project. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis helped write and produce several tracks, alongside longtime collaborators David Foster and Bill Bottrell. One of the album's hit singles, You Are Not Alone, was penned by rising R&B star R. Kelly. It boasted an even more impressive lineup of guest stars: Janet Jackson, Biggie Smalls, Slash, Shaquille O'Neal, and Boyz II Men. The promotional campaign was bold, profound, and grandiose, costing $30 million in total, $4 million of which went to its teaser. A very Soviet-looking MJ marches down a street to the cheers of his loving citizens, accompanied by hundreds of real Hungarian soldiers. We cut to a coliseum where the result of grueling industrial metalworking is revealed. A titanic statue of the king of pop himself, stanced up and imposing over the entire world. 10 of these 32-foot statues were created, though with more fiberglass than Soviet steel, and scattered around the world. One was floated down the River Thames for promotion, watching over the citizens of London. In the years since, the statues have ended up in some pretty odd places. Imagine seeing MJ at Dutch McDonald's. Another odd choice was making the project a double album. As you may know, Disc 1 is a greatest hits album of MJ's solo career, with only Disc 2 being his new greatest hits. The idea dates back to the scrapped compilation, Decade, that was set to catalog his first 3 records, and some various guest work. This turned a few reviewers off from the project, and combined with the negative press, caused the album to underperform in comparison to its predecessor. Still, it's Michael, so not only did it sell 20 million copies, but it's also the highest-selling double album of all time. So, side 1, History begins. How's the lineup? Starting with Billie Jean, the biggest hit, nice. Way You Make Me Feel was already track 2, so pretty good. Black or White, then Rock With You. We've got one from each album. Real evolution of sound. These were all about median tempo, so we slow it down with Out of My Life before heating it up with Bad. But as we go on, there's just so much Thriller. A third of this compilation is Thriller, which makes sense. It is fair, but Dangerous and Off the Wall really get sidelined. And no offense, but he's not picking their strongest songs. It's all MJ, so I can't say it's a bad side one. But if I had to pick 15, it'd go something like this. From Off the Wall, you get Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Rock With You, and Working Day and Night. Thriller is Baby Be Mine, Thriller, Billie Jean, and PYT. From Bad, you get, Bad, Just Good Friends, Man in the Mirror, and Smooth Criminal. And lastly, from Dangerous, you get Jam, Remember the Time, and Dangerous. Yeah, I left out Black or White. It's good, but it's not top 15 good. Come on. Now, time for the original stuff. Side 2, History Continues. What makes this album so underrated is, in my opinion, the production. This era is so swept up in drama that this part of his discography is often overlooked. But the musical journey that truly started in Bad and got weird and Dangerous is ironed out into something phenomenal here. This style that I keep referencing boils down to a few key elements: percussion, strings, and harmonies. Coupled with MJ's performance, they're so tightly in sync that you don't notice how simple the songs can be under the hood. Now, that's not a bad thing by any means. There's very much a problem in overproducing music. But these elements were not always paired so eloquently on Dangerous. You'd have it just be the drums for minutes on end before synth and strings came in for the chorus. Or just slow, drawn-out piano pieces like Heal the World and Gone Too Soon. The closest comparison to what I see here is Who Is It? A more balanced mix of bass, choir, and keys. The drums are relatively downplayed, compared to the constant crashing snare that Teddy Riley brings to the record. I see much the same with the tracks on History. Drums are still leading and driving the beat, but they're not as abrasive or distracting. There's more variation in what types of sound, both real drums and sampled, are being used to make the beats. Same with the move from traditional sounding strings to a varied rainbow of synth pads, organs, crunchy square waves. Michael harmonizes and overlaps with himself pretty well on tracks like Stranger in Moscow, This Time Around, and Tabloid Junkie. Plus, come on, Boyz II Men are on the title track, and they're the kings of harmony. More of a personal preference, but the energy on this album is what really sets it apart. Opener Scream wastes no time in getting to the elephant in the room. Like Leave Me Alone, but turned up to the max. And might I say, Janet fits alongside Michael like a glove. She's been working with Jam and Lewis's production style for a whole lot longer, and she's one of the only ones who can match Michael's energy. The duo criticized the media for attacking MJ, publishing lies and slander just to kick him while he's down. They're making a bad situation worse, and as Janet puts it, selling their souls, because they know damn well what they're doing. This anger towards the media circus and the allegations dominates a lot of the original material, which makes sense in context, but outside of the music, puts a real damper on the project. The inclusion of a greatest hits album might be a cash grab to some, but I see it as a celebration of his career. Side 1 is all the hits that got him here, while Side 2 is looking forward to his future. A dedication to history that is now half dedicated to his feelings of anger and betrayal. The title track feels like a remnant of this idea, but it's just not enough. This Time Around, Tabloid Junkie, and Too Bad continue satirizing the media. And while it came from a messed up place, I won't lie, it's also some of the most peak shit to ever grace my ears. Money and DS are a little more personal, the former being about how quick people are to stab you in the back just to cash out. Anger directed not so much at little Jordan Chandler, but at his father, Evan. And, well, I mean...
If I go through with this, I win big time. And does that help, Jordan? That's irrelevant to me.
DS is just a diss track. Tom Sneddon was the district attorney who led the investigation against him. And so MJ writes about this horrible man named Dom S. Sheldon. This guy Dom, he must be with the CIA, FBI, or hell, even the KKK. No one likes him, and he's just out for himself. Also, if you slur his name while singing, it sounds an awful lot like Tom Sneddon. What a funny coincidence. While it's largely doom and gloom, not all of it is about the lawsuit. Earth Song is a haunting and epic piece about the damage we've done to the environment. He asks, is there a time to save the beauty of the world? It's a rhetorical question, because everything will go if the Earth goes. Luckily, we listened to him and saved the world in the 90s, so the next generation doesn't have to live through the apocalypse. Childhood is a pretty personal and incredibly depressing ballad. Everyone already knows that MJ was an abused child star that never had a moment of normalcy until his death. But it's worse to hear him admit it, to plead with people to understand that all of these strange behaviors and eccentricities are a result of being emotionally stunted. All he wanted, all he still wants, is to have a childhood. That's most of my highlights. You Are Not Alone was another world record for MJ, for first song to debut at number 1 on Billboard charts. And it's alright. I'm not a slow song type of guy, which is why I've got nothing on this or Little Susie. But the drums and pre-chorus on Stranger in Moscow make it a pleasant exception. Love that breakdown towards the end, where he starts ad-libbing the title. And, because someone will say it, it's the ending theme of Sonic 3. Come Together is a nice Beatles cover, and the most rock this album gets outside of Slash's work on DS. The album ends on a rather haunting cover of Charlie Chaplin's Smile. The song's lyrics are intended to be optimistic, smiling to get through the hard times. But it reads as MJ having to still perform and put on a fake smile for the world, despite the troubles that plague him. Using my rating system from earlier, it's about a 10 out of 15. Makes me a fake fan, but like I said, I'm not a slow song guy. They're good, objectively, but if I know that I'll skip them every time I listen, it's not worth downloading. History's chorus is really good, but the drums are odd elsewhere, and the intro is just too long. But we're not done yet. MJ wasn't satisfied with the performance of History. He also found European fans to be a lot more favorable than the lackluster and critical American audiences on the History tour. So, he spent a lot of the late 90s immersing himself with the European music scene, and came back with a taste for the club. 2 years later, we got another weird mishmash, a remix album of History, coupled with an EP's worth of original tracks. Well, repurposed tracks from Dangerous. I won't go too deeply into this album and the original material, as it deserves its own video, but reapproaching the tracks of History with new Eurodance drum loops, bass patterns, and redone keyboard sections breathes a lot of new life into an already fantastic package. History's remix is industrial techno, screamed louder, is even funkier somehow. The instrumentals for Money and This Time Around wouldn't be out of place in Persona 5. I get it! I get the hype for You Are Not Alone now, that it has better drums and a faster tempo. Except for that track and History, I still prefer the originals over the remixes, but it's a cute little companion piece. Should definitely give it a listen, and it's worth owning for the original tracks as well. If we count Blood as canon, then that bumps us up to a 12 out of 15, and that's a solid B. Once again, it's not his best work. Quincy's polish just can't be beat. They're too good a duo. But every artist must leave the nest and try and find themselves. And for better or worse, History feels like the most Michael album. It's raw emotion, it's real, it's well mixed, it's stylistically distinct, and it sure as hell is underrated. do not put this at the bottom of your list. Or at least, do me a favor and keep it above dangerous.